हाथ 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 भाई साहब हाथ हाथ हटा लो भाई साहब हाथ हटा Yes, you have somebody carry around with you.
हमारे हॉस्पिटल्स में आईसीयू बेड्स वेटिंग पे है, पेशेंट्स के लिए बेड्स नहीं है। आप लोग प्लीज सेफ रहो। अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपको 1 साल से कोरोना नहीं हुआ है इसलिए आप कोई सुपर हीरो हो या आपकी इम्यूनिटी बहुत अच्छी है और आपको ऐसे कुछ नहीं होगा, तो आप गलत फहमी में हो। हम यंग लोगों को देख रहे हैं। I mean, we have a 35-year-old who's on the ventilator and we are not able to help people now.
This is a national crisis, for God's sake. This is the country going to war. This is a war against a virus, and we have to all be party to that battle in which we are fighting.
Second wave के
Yes.
सबसे बड़ी बात जो ये सेकेंड वेव में आई है कि यंगर एज ग्रुप को भी काफी इन्फेक्शन फैल रहा है। हो सकता है कि ना कंट्री को हम वैक्सीन लगा सकते हैं, पब्लिक को पूरे तरीके से अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी संभालनी है। ये किसी और के लिए नहीं कर रहे आप अपने लिए कर रहे हो, अपने को बचाने के लिए, और अब से भरे हुए हैं जो बच्चों ने दिए उनको इन्फेक्शन। इसकी बात तो आपको हर एक सिटीजन को समझनी चाहिए कि 3 ही जो चीजें बार बार कही जा रही हैं, मास्किंग, डिस्टेंसिंग और हैंड हाइजीन, ये ही एक मंत्र है जो पब्लिक कर सकती है और हमें इकट्ठे लड़नी है।
Here in the second wave, we have found that the oxygen utilization has been found to be 54.5% versus 41% surge of cases. So there was a panic. People wanted to get admitted to hospitals and therefore the oxygen requirement suddenly shot up. We would like to ensure that all hospitals and all physicians ensure that the oxygen usage has to be very, very rationalized, one. And number 2, wastage of oxygen should not happen.
Remdesivir is basically an antiviral drug. It was basically developed for the management of Ebola, and that is where the evolution of Remdesivir happened. But initial studies were done to look at its utility as far as COVID-19 was concerned. The first paper that came out from China actually was a negative study and showed it was of no use. It did not show Remdesivir had much effect, and this was the first study which was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Subsequent studies did show that Remdesivir was useful only in people who had moderate to severe disease in decreasing the hospital stay by about 4 days. There was no mortality benefit. By taking Remdesivir, the study did not show that you could save lives. You could just decrease the hospital admission. And it was only found to be useful when it was given when your saturation fell to around 94 or less, or there were infiltrates in the chest X-ray. So this was usually around the 5th to the 7th day. We don't really promote Faviplu that aggressively. Same is true for ivermectin. So none of these drugs are very useful. Coming to dexamethasone and steroids, Now, those are the drugs which have been shown to be of some use in the recovery trial. But again, I would like to stress that it's not only the drugs, it's the timing of the drugs which is also very, very important.
There are two aspects to this tsunami of corona that's happened in the last 6 to 8 weeks. First is as breaking the chain of transmission. Hospital beds are very, very precious. We have to reserve them for the really sick to save people who need to be in the hospital. A large number of these people can be managed at home with home monitoring devices, home monitoring packages. We can manage them in hotels, which the government has now allowed, which can be attached to a given hospital, COVID care centers. In addition to COVID patients, we have a large number of non-COVID patients who cannot be sacrificed because they have waited for a very, very long time to come to hospitals. And for us, any life, COVID or non-COVID, is equally important. But we have to come down on gatherings, we have to come down on rallies, protest marches, whatever. People should not get together in large crowds because that's very conducive for transmission of corona. Second, you should increase testing, tracking and isolation of the people who are infected, ramp up the vaccination so that we come to a level of herd immunity at the closest time possible.
How can you protect yourself from the virus? Strategies to deal with the pandemic. 100% adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior. Zero tolerance for no mask, crowding and COVID-inappropriate behavior. Learn to wear and remove masks correctly. Understand viral load and increase alertness accordingly. Testing, tracing, isolating and vaccinating. Eat nutritious foods. People with comorbidities like obesity, diabetes must take extra precautions. Keep fit and exercise.